Okay, so I'm on vacation in beautiful and hot Guyana. And I wasn't planning on leaving any kind of a video or anything, but I had to. I just had a nice little conversation with a 10-year-old. And it's just amazing how Jesus is just working at all times. Um, she came over to the house. My daughter was getting her some clothes, I think it is, just getting her some stuff. And, she sat down on the couch next to me. So I just said, you know what, let me ask her a question. I'm like, do you know who Jesus is? And she said, yeah, Jesus is the Son of God. And I was like, wow, okay, okay. And then we got, we kept talking. I asked her about, if she knew why Jesus came. I think I said came to earth. And I could see that that kind of threw her off a bit. So, I explained, that Jesus came to offer salvation to everyone and, what that meant. And then I had a feeling that she had a certain perspective of who Jesus was based on the conversation and based on her saying he's the Son of God and saying it so quickly. So I asked her who she was the daughter of. And, she told me her mom's name. And I'm like, okay, is your mom a human being? And she thought about it for a second. She said, yeah, my mom's a human being and she's also God. And I was like, okay, that's an interesting perspective. And then so I asked her, can your mom do everything that God can do? And she thought about it and she's like, nah, nah. She looked a little disappointed actually. She's like, no, I don't think so. And so I asked her, like, what are some of the things that God can do that your mom can't do? And she said the water thing. So I'm not sure if she was talking about the parting of the Red Sea or maybe something else in Genesis. I know when I was a child in Guyana, Genesis was sort of read in Sunday school a lot. Like they really laid the foundation for me anyway. When I was in Sunday school, I remember the book of Genesis very well from Sunday school. So I'm not sure if she's thinking about something from Genesis in terms of, God forming things through water and all of that. But um, she said the water thing. And here in Guyana, we have blackouts sometimes, and it can last for hours. So I asked her about, when the lights go out, can your mom say, let there be light, and do the lights come back on if she says that? And of course she said no, she laughed. And she said, no, my mom can't do that. So I said, okay, so there is a difference between God and your mom. And she's like, yeah, yeah, there is a difference. So I'm like, so do you think your mom is God still? And she's like, nah, nah, my mom's not God. She can't do the things that God can do. So then I went back to the question. I'm like, okay, and you're the daughter of your mom, and your mom is a human being. So what does that make you? She said, well, I'm a human being. And I'm like, okay. And you told me that Jesus is the Son of God. So what does that make him? And she thought about it, but before she could answer, her little cousin, I think he is maybe 8, 9 at the most, he jumped right in and he said, wait, is Jesus God? Or I think he said he's God. Like in a question, like, he's God? And I was like, wow, yes. Right. And then she was like, oh, yeah, because he is the Son of God. It makes him God. And yeah, I live in a yard with a lot of dogs, so they're hearing my voice and they're responding. But yeah, yeah, and it was just really nice to see that I could have a conversation with little children, 10 years old and younger, and just by talking and just asking just logical, rational questions, they come up with the right conclusions all on their own, just by me asking questions and just making them think, right? And this reminded me of something that happened in my basement. It was the first time that my kids had like a bunch of friends over since we had gotten into the Bible, right? We had gotten into the Bible, maybe a year had passed, and we kind of, they hadn't had a bunch of friends over. So that happened. There was like maybe, I don't know, 8 to 10 young people in my basement, okay? All around the age of 20 to, I would say, 25. And so now, because we were on this new journey, I just felt, I guess, compelled to go in the basement and to just let these people know that we're doing things differently. And I was like literally scared, okay? Because these are young people. I had no idea how they were going to take this. I went in the basement, took a deep breath, asked them the same question. I think I asked them if they're Christian first. Everyone put up their hand. Then I asked them if they knew who Jesus was. And then we got into a conversation. And all of these young people from a wide range of backgrounds and a wide range of, I would say, worldly influenced, based on what I knew about them through my kids, they all were very engaging and responded to questions. I said my little piece. The conversation took maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and I went upstairs. And it was just refreshing to see young people just engaging. And I was literally afraid because of all the things that I had in my head, about how I would be received or whatever. And it just wasn't like that. I was received very well. They were engaging. When I left, I remember there being questions like on their faces. I could see that they had questions. And my son actually told me that after I left, the conversation went on for 2 hours about Christianity and about Jesus. And this just reminded me of that. It's just a reminder that sometimes we as grown people have preconceptions in our mind that stop us from doing the things that we should do. And so this is just another reminder. And so I'm just kind of putting it out there, that any opportunity we get, we should try to share the gospel, right? We should try to share the good news about Jesus, what he came to do. And I think we'll find that the younger generation is way more receptive and perceptive to this stuff than we realize. Um, it's a lot more available to us than I think we realize. And I think a lot of times we're just a little afraid, self-conscious. We don't want to be rejected and all that kind of stuff, and that's why we don't do it. But if you're over the age, if you're beyond the age of a teenager, you've probably been rejected, and you're just fine, right? You've came out of it just fine. So even if you are rejected, it doesn't mean that we don't do what we're called to do. And so this is just another example of me having a good experience with this. That's usually the case. And so I encourage people to just do it more. We need to talk about Jesus more, especially in this day and time that we live in. So, quick little video here. I just had to do it. It's late, as you guys can see. It's very dark where I am, and it's late. But I just had to just put this out there. All right, y'all have a good day, morning, afternoon, wherever you are, and stay blessed.